Welcome back, folks. This is Shane. In today's video, we're checking out a live switcher from RGBlink called the Mini Plus. Now, I did a full review of their RGBlink Mini. If you missed it, I'll leave a link up in the cards and you can check out that deep dive review. It covers everything you need to know, and both of these units are very similar, but I'm going to start by showcasing what it is that is similar about both of these units and then where the differences are, and I'll also showcase them in this particular video. Just to let you know, I'll be using this switcher the entirety of the video as well, so you'll get a sense of just how it works and how it responds when I push buttons and all of that kind of thing. Firstly, a massive thank you to RGBlink for sending this stuff out for the review. They're not paying me for my opinion or anything like that or to produce this video, but they are letting me keep these units. But if you want to find out more about these, links will be in the description below. Let's start with an overview and the similarities between both of these units. So the RGBlink Mini Plus can handle signals up to 1080p 60 frames per second maximum if you're in North America or NTSC region, or 50 frames, no problems at all either. One of the cool things about it, it can also handle frame rates of 24 frames per second, 25 and 30. So you've pretty much got all your bases covered when it comes to frame rates. It does not handle 4K signals. Also note the minimum resolution is 720p. So you have to make sure you've got at least 720 going into it to get a signal out of it. One of the best things about both of these switches is the fact that they have a 2-inch TFT display. Now, this is not a touch screen, but it allows you to see everything that's on screen at any particular time. And this makes it great if you don't have a reference monitor at your disposal. Another key feature on these units is the fact we can use the internal menu or the companion app to change the output resolution and frame rate. So by hitting the menu button, we can go into wherever we're sending the signal, so either USB 3.0 or HDMI, and then we can change up the format from what I've got it set to right now is 1920 by 1080 by 50 frames per second, being that I'm in a PAL region. If you're in an NTSC region, for example, all you'll need to do is set that to either 60 or 30 and you'll be good to go, or 24 if you're shooting 24 frames per second. Another unique feature over something like the ATEM Mini, for example, is we get a transition bar in the center. Both of these feel identical on both of the units, so you don't have to worry about one being more premium than the other. They're both physically identical. When it comes to the transition bar, it all depends on your particular setup. Being that I'm on my own, I've currently got it disabled, so I can just push buttons and then the camera will switch. For me, this is much easier because I don't have to worry about queuing up which one I want to fade to and then using the fader. So for me, this is a far easier solution. Now, it will just depend. If you're someone who's, say, doing the control for someone else's show, you can use the transition bar and get some really great effects. Another one of the cool shared features is the fact we get to choose what the HDMI output does, as well as the USB 3 out. So I've got the USB set to preview mode, which is essentially a large version of this with the audio levels as well. I'll show you a little bit of that on screen. Now, if that doesn't look very good, it's because I'm recording it at a lower resolution on my old crappy computer. I've currently got the send going to program mode. So the program mode is what is the final recording and what you're looking at right now. I'm not going to color correct any of this in post-production, so you get a sense of how it looks. While both of these units are designed and work extremely well with Open Broadcaster software, they have the advantage of just being detected as a webcam. So you can use these with Skype, with Zoom. If you want to go to YouTube Live and not use OBS, for example, or Open Broadcaster software, you can plug these in, select it as the webcam from the drop-down menu, and you're done. So they both share the same functionality. If we take a look at the back of each of the units, they're identical. We get 4 HDMI inputs, 1 HDMI output, and the power connector in. On the left side of the unit, we get an Ethernet port, we get a USB 3.0 port, and an audio in and out. So the audio out will be really handy if you're someone who's manning somebody else's show. We also get an analog input. Now, like most of these units, when it comes to the analog input, the only downside is if you're going to be streaming, you'll need to off-sync that in OBS. I'm going to do a full tutorial about that because I've had so many people ask me about it. One of the cool things about the RGBlink switches is we also get a heatsink on the bottom of each unit. Now, I used this for 4 hours extensively yesterday. Didn't have any issues with it getting too hot. One of the things I didn't notice about the right side of the RGBlink is we get a thread that allows you to set it up on some sort of mounting system. Now, odds are you won't want to be mounting it vertically, but it has the right thread for a tripod. So if you've already got a live or mobile rig, you'll be able to set it up and get it in a position that works best for your particular show. Now, when it comes to all of the transitions, picture-in-picture modes, and all of the options available when it comes to audio, these are both identical to each other. If you missed my first review of the RGBlink Mini over here, I would highly recommend checking that out. If you want to learn more about that, links will be up in the cards. Up next, we're going to talk about the major differences when it comes to the RGBlink Mini over the Mini Plus, and you can decide which one is best for you. The first one being logo support. Now, I've currently got my Mac hooked up. The way you can select an image is from the Expose software, which is its companion app, and then you can select picture from your desktop, for example, on the right there, and then you go down to logo generated. Now, logo generated, believe it or not, is the install on unit button. I wish that was just like set logo. That would make far more sense just in terms of, you know, intuitiveness, because I didn't know what that was until I clicked it. I was like, oh, so that uploads it to the unit. So once you've got it installed on the RGBlink Mini, it only takes a few seconds. You'll see something on screen that says uploading to unit. Click the menu button, and then you can scroll down to logo overlay, and you can then turn it on. Now, once you've turned it on, you have the ability to reposition it using these functions here, which is really cool. So the X is the horizontal area on screen, and the Y you can control with this unit is the vertical. So you can position this wherever you like. Now, there's a maximum resolution on the logo. You can also upload transparent logos, but they need to be 24-bit BMP files. One thing I would love to see with this unit is if it supported PNG files, because they're far more common, and nearly any image editing suite can actually create them with no problems at all. I found this one off Google, so you can position this wherever you like. One of the clear points of separation with the RGBlink Mini over that of the standard is its ability to control pan tilt zoom camera. So if you already have one of these Ethernet based cameras and you've got it hooked up to the network, I'm using the RGBlink Mini Plus to control not only the position of the camera in the room like this, just by panning it left and right, I can also go up and down, which is fantastic. And thanks to the unit, I can control the zoom and focus. Controlling the camera is nice and simple. We go into the set button here, we hit it until we get down to the effects tab down the bottom, and then I've got it currently set to camera 1, and we go down to control. Let's take a look at the pan tilt zoom camera in action, and of course it's not going to look as good as my GH5, which is my primary camera, but you'll get a sense of how to operate it from this particular view. Let's get that cable out of the way. So I'm in position mode, which is literally left and right. So if we want to turn the camera left or right, we can use this control on the left, turning it left or right this way. It's very intuitive like that. I really like it. You can go fast, you can go slow. It just depends on, you know, how you want to operate it. If we push this button again, we go over to the zoom tab. So to zoom in, we do exactly the same thing as before. We use the right one to control the amount of zoom. So this will open up some opportunities and possibilities with this unit that the other one doesn't have, nor do most switches out there have this option either. So for me, this is really cool. If you're gonna be doing some live streaming and you're not overly fussy with the quality, this would be really cool. You can do it like that as well. Now you can also change the focus, but I've actually got the camera set to autofocus because it kind of works okay. And within the camera software, you can change all of the other settings, like white balance and all that kind of stuff, but it's gonna look vastly different to this. It's like not even close, right? So, but the ability to be able to control multiples of these web-based, IP-based PTZ cameras is really awesome. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. The third biggest change between the Mini Plus and the Mini is the fact that it can support Chroma Keying. Now, Chroma Keying is where you might run a green screen in the background, then you want to drop out the green, allowing you to leave what's left. Now, there's an official video from RGBlink on this, and I'm going to leave it up in the cards because I can't get it to work, especially with my blue background. It might be that causing the problem. Now, if we take a look at the Expose software, you can define a user color, or you can choose from any of these different options here. But for me, I haven't been able to get this to work, and I've sent a few emails back and forth, and it seems like not everybody can get it to work, but it is something that's officially supported. So I'll link it through here, and you can check out that in action. Now, when it came to the RGBlink Mini Plus, I hit a few roadblocks. I didn't hit any roadblocks when it came to the RGBlink Mini. I'm going to talk about that right now. So if you're using a pan tilt zoom camera, if you can assign an IP address to it, you're in business. The one that I've got right here, I can't find a way to assign an IP address that works on my local area network, so I have to disconnect my internet and just use the switch on the floor, and then everything talks to each other perfectly. So depending on the brand of pan-tilt zoom camera, just keep that in mind. Secondly, I really wish they had have done a PNG logo support on this rather than a BMP file. 24-bit BMP, no one really uses those. PNGs are so common. I'm sure that'll be an upgrade coming up, or at least fingers crossed. And lastly, I wish they changed some of the terminology in the Xpose video management software. It's no big deal once you know what it does, but there's just some options in here that don't make a lot of sense, especially the chroma keying, because if I can't get it to work, it means it's way more complicated than it might need to be. All right, I'm throwing this in just at the last moment here because I got an email from the guys at RGBlink saying that there's now an Android and iOS app called Xpose Mini. So if you want to control this via an app on your smartphone or tablet, you can do that as well. A massive thank you to RGBlink for sending this out for the review. I really appreciate it. Again, if you want to see all the deep dive features of what both of these units can do in terms of transitions, picture-in-picture, and all of those kind of things, check out the link I put in the cards and it will take you through to my full video. I'll also leave a link through to PTZ Optics YouTube channel, who did a connectivity video about how to get the pan-tilt zoom cameras to work with this. So if you want to see an instructional guide, check that out. I'll link that up here also. Thanks again for watching. Links will be below to this stuff. Catch you soon. See ya.